Guruve Gaura Chanjaya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaja Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam, devotees. Madhavatiti Kadasi Ki Jai. So I wanted to speak a little bit regarding a conversation I had recently about the understanding of the relationship with Sri Guru, and especially the evolution, so to speak, of the understanding of how to relate to Sri Guru based on the original teaching of our Srila Rupa Goswami Pad in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and also the sort of cultural phenomenon of the Vaishnava teachings coming by the prophecy of Mahaprabhu to the Western world, especially by the mercy and grace of our dear Srila Prabhupada, Nitya-lila Pravishtam Vishnupada Paramahamsa, Astottara Satasishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, our Srila Prabhupada, and also equally Nitya-lila Pravishtam Vishnupada Paramahamsa, Astottara Satasishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, my own Guru Pada Padma. So also many other persons helped immensely in disseminating information regarding Guru Tattva, Guru Sishya relationship, etc. Especially one book was written some time ago by Nitya-lila Pravishtam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Stottara Sisimat, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shri Goswami Maharaj, called Sri Guru and His Grace. And I know for many devotees, this was a seminal work for them in terms of giving clarity, especially at a time when there was some clouds, so to speak, of understanding Guru Tattva in our institution at the time, ISKCON institution, because of just the evolution. So I thought today I would speak a little bit to that point, and also to give some, hopefully, clarity of thought for those who are aspiring to accept Guru and to deepen their process in terms of practicing bhakti. So obviously we have to begin with Srila Rupa Goswami Pad's instructions that he's given. The first 4 things in the 64 angas of practicing bhakti are Guru Padasraya, Tatha Diksha, Shikshadi, and Vishrambena Guru Seva. So we need to look at these 4 things and look at them very carefully, and then also have a way to understand from both the angle of Sri Guru and the angle of the aspiring Sishya as to what the core nature of the relationship really is. So, of course, our introduction to everything regarding bhakti was, again, by the mercy of our Srila Prabhupada. And in the Western world, there was some ideas of Guru, but they were not rooted in culture, Western culture. There's some, ideas of having a teacher. There's an idea, at least at that time, of some kind of respect for elder persons. Of course, all these things have waned somewhat as time has gone on. But there was not a clear conception, especially regarding Gaudiya theology, as far as how the relationship between Guru and Sishya should be. Of course, very early stories of our Srila Prabhupada entail him even waiting on line to take a shower at 26 2nd Avenue, and doing part of the cleaning chores and everything else. And as devotees came to understand more clearly the concept of Guru and the relationship of Guru to Bhagavan, and also, therefore, disciple to Guru related to Bhagavan, then obviously much more etiquette was introduced, and there was much more of a seeing of Sri Guru according to the posture of his or her relationship to Bhagavan, and how the Sri Guru is the via median or via media to giving the aspiring person connection with God. So obviously, on the basis of that, the external dealings with our Srila Prabhupada certainly were modified, and rightfully so. And then as we went on, that became the entrenched understanding. This is Guru etiquette. This is how a disciple feels, deals, and relates to Sri Guru. And so in this way, a kind of etiquette was introduced, and certainly has some basis in Sastra, but even then, there was still some lack of realization about how that really works as a relationship, not just a institutional standard. You understand? In other words, what is the etiquette in the institution for this particular phenomenon called guru-disciple? So in doing that, sometimes the more subtle nature of the fact that it is a relationship was lost. So I want to speak a little bit about that by going through Srila Rupa Goswami Pad's definitions. So first, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad mentions Guru Pad Asraya. So it means taking shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Guru. So here, Guru first means Gu Shabdat Andakarasya Ru Shabdat Andakarasya Nirodita. This is the literal definition of the word Guru. That person who is able to bring light into a situation of darkness. And in this particular case, it refers to the darkness of the avidya related to Maya. Avidya literally means the absence of knowledge about our essential nature. And one who can bring the light of that knowledge. So it doesn't just mean to bring various philosophical conceptions. It means one who can directly shine a light on the reality of the fact that we are all the das of Bhagavan. This is the real meaning of Ru Shabdat Andakarasya Nirodita, removing that darkness by the illumination of the truth regarding the Atma or the soul. So that person who can perform that function is called Guru for that reason. And of course, Sastra gives innumerable verses describing Sri Guru. Right? Tadvidi Paripatena Prishnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninas Tattva Darshana. That Sri Guru is a person who's had the darshan of Tattva. And here Tattva refers to the absolute truth. So also, Tasmad Gurum Prapajita Jigyasho Shri Uttamam. Right? Shabda Parecha Nishnatam Brahmanya Upasamasrayam. That Sri Guru also has bathed, literally means bathed, in the realization of Paratattva, right? They've completely taken shelter themselves of Paratattva, and therefore they are someone whom Tajmat Gurum Prapajeta, you can do Saranagati to, and Jigyasho Shreya Uttamam. You can now inquire about Shreya. Here means the ultimate welfare for someone. So Sri Guru is that person. So Guru Padashraya literally means to identify first this quality of what is Guru, right? Then Rupa Goswami is also written, because we need some clarification, that Guru is also not something generic. Guru is also not something homogeneous. So it's not that every person is going to have the same exact situation, even in regards to Guru Tattva, right? There are some persons who are doing the seva of Guru in the sense that they're doing what I described. They're bringing illumination into darkness. This is the real functional element of Sri Guru. So those persons who are doing that are also functioning as Guru in terms of this description. You understand? Some persons who are like that are also Nitya Siddhas who've descended from the spiritual realm, come into the Shrishti Lila, and on behalf of Bhagavan, they are performing this function. Among those who are Nitya Siddha and who've descended to this plane, some are also Sainpati Bhaktas. It means they are generals in the army of Sriman Mahaprabhu. And therefore, examples like our Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Pada Padma, and others, but primarily because of the nature and expanse of their preaching over the course of time and the wideness of that preaching, then that element of being a Sainpati Bhakta was manifest. Also, Sainpati Bhakta may mean not just someone who, by the nature of their travel and the nature of the widespread influence they have in, making many Vaishnavas and bringing people into the Vaishnava fold, but also those who, though not traveling very much, but still are recognized because of their high class of Vaishnavata and their influence, though they may not have traveled very much and everything, they also fit this profile of being Sainpati Bhaktas. Also, there are those who, though not having that profile of being Sainpati Bhakta, right, but they are carrying out the function of Guru by, again, the description, bringing illumination into darkness. Those persons may have much smaller external profile, but they're doing that seva. So they are also called Guru, and they may be of the quality of Nitya Siddha or Sadhana Siddha, or Rupa Goswami Pad is given another category, Sastra Yukti Suni Punya Dvirashwara Yanra Uttamadikari Se Tariye Sangsar. So here, this comes in the section of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in which they are discussing the performance of sadhana bhakti. So those who have uttamadikar in eligibility to perform sadhana, because they are sastra yukti suni punya. So sastra yukti suni punya means that they've understood both sastra and the true meanings of sastra. So they're not just conversant with the information content, but the logic and the true inner meanings of sastra are also understood by them. And therefore, in their own practice, drita shradayandra, their shraddha is very drita, very fixed. And because their own faith is very fixed, and they have sastra and sastra yukti, they are uttamadikar in the eligibility of the practice of sadhana bhakti, which is the path, the very path we're all trying to walk. And therefore, it's mentioned for them, uttamadikar se tariye samsara. They can also bring illumination into the arena of samsara. Means those who are going through the cycle of birth and death, who are in avidya, they may also bring illumination into the fold of those persons. So though they are not nitya siddha, though they may not have even reached completely their own siddhi in practice, certainly they have to have some level of realization. You understand? They have to have some level of realization, but they may not have reached their own bhav siddhi yet. Bhav siddhi means it's the goal of sadhana. Kriti sajya bhavat sajya bhavasa sadhanabhira nitya siddha bhavasha prakritam riddhi sajyata. The goal of practicing is to obtain bhav. When you obtain bhav, you'll practice in bhav to obtain prem. When you obtain prem, then you'll receive a vastu. Deha means a spiritual body. By association with the eternal associates in the spiritual realm, one's prem will go and grow in increments. Prem, sneha, man, pranaya, raga, etc. So it's not a class on Ujjwala Leela. This is to answer another particular question. So, point here is that this is the definition of guru. What does pad mean? So guru pad, that when we approach guru, there should be pranipad. The idea that I have done mutual examination. Hari Bhakti Vilas is mentioned 1 year at least. There should be mutual pariksha. Pariksha means examination. The Sishya has seen how my Guru Dev lives, how my Guru Dev understands Sastra, how my Guru Dev has affection for me, what is my Guru Dev's mood, etc., etc. And the Guru similarly has the ability to do Sishya pariksha, to understand, is this person serious? Is their mood appropriate? Is it someone who perhaps has ulterior motives in accepting Guru? So all of those things are done by mutual examination. And of course, in the contemporary world, that may not always be a case where they can live literally together. But certainly they should have ongoing communication, ongoing association whenever possible to have this kind of examination, right? So once the guru and the disciple have this type of examination, then the sishya can do pranipat. It means to feel a sense of comfort in surrendering their heart to this person as a illuminator on the path of bhakti. Because at that time, they may or may not have true understanding of Guru Tattva, so they cannot have assessment into the nature of the depth of Guru. They can see what is to be accommodated in their own experience. They don't have the depth of Guru Tattva or Bhakti Tattva to really ascertain the depth of that person, right? But their faith has been initiated by that person, their harikatha, etc. Because this is another thing. Over the course of that time of association, the most important thing will be Shravan, hearing. Hearing the harikatha of Gurudev will be the best indication that you have at your disposal for discerning the nature of whether that person is a place where you can deposit your currency of faith. Because the currency of faith is everything in bhakti. You understand? It is Shraddha in the very beginning that transforms into everything else. That Shraddha transforms eventually into Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya Natanivritti Nishta Ruchi Ashakti's Bhav. It's that same Shraddha which in its very leanest initial feature is called faith or Shraddha. That's what eventually becomes love of God. So you have to, by the examination of the association with that person that you're aspiring to accept as your person of illumination, Guru, whether you are comfortable to deposit your faith currency there. And if your faith has been nourished, if your faith has been inspired, if your faith has been nurtured by that person, and you are feeling also affection, because in the 61st Anga mentioned, and 61, yeah, maybe 61, it speaks about the nature of how to have association. So it should be Swajatya Snigdha. The word Swajatya means that the Guru should be in a position where we share the same aspiration in bhakti. Also in the beginning for Sishya, they may not have clarity about that. Because many times a person, when they come to the path of bhakti, they're still establishing the fact that I am a servant and there is God and I'm the servant of that God. So the specialities and the specifications of that mood of service have not yet arisen in them. You understand? So it may not be possible to understand the nature of Swajatya with Sri Guru then. But one can understand whether Sri Guru has capacity to, when I am unfolding, to both help that unfoldment and then have the nature to nourish the particular specific mood towards Bhagavan that I have. Right? And then ideally, it will be that my Guru Dev is Swajatya. It means he has that same mood that I'm aspiring for, and Snigdha. Snigdha means very affectionate. So affection has very many nuances. Snigdha is not only an external idea of what we call affection, but it is rather in this context a deep interest in the welfare with love for that person. This is really snigdha. So it may manifest differently. For instance, it certainly manifests always in honesty. In other words, Sri Guru, rather than trying to always be appeasing to the disciple, that, oh, everything is okay, everything is all right, Guru will sometimes have to speak frankly and honestly for their welfare. This is not okay. That, no, this is not a good means of dealing with life or life space at that time. So the real nature of love and honesty coming from the heart of Guru will be like that. And truly, the other factor is true, that from a Sishya, honesty will also be there. Oh, Shri Gurudev, I have this issue, I have that issue. Or, oh, Shri Gurudev, more pleasing and more confidential, Gurudev, I've had this kind of realization. Can you help me to confirm? You understand? So, on both accounts, Snigdha should be there, right? The relation, and the reason I'm mentioning this is because in the fourth stage that we'll talk about, the reality of this snigdha or affection becomes very prominent, right? And I might as well mention now that what has kind of happened in the search to balance the understanding of Guru and Guru etiquette, there has been a sort of excessive swing of the pendulum to the side of sort of Aishwarya, means like opulence. Oh, Guru, Guru, oh, Gurudev, Gurudev, Guru, Guru, Guru. And then whenever I see my Guru, then, you know, always, oh, we have to do foot washing. We'll have to have very big chair, very big seat. And there should be, you know, flower garlands, maybe 10 flower garlands, and etc., etc. So remember that I just talked about snigdha. When those activities are born from deep sense of snigdha, then they become very valuable to the disciples' advancement in bhakti, right? When they are motivated under just the feature of awe and reverence, and they lose intimacy, then it becomes official. Yeah, we did a very good job. You know, Gurudev came and we did the foot washing, check. We gave the garland, check. We gave pranami, means donation, check. We cooked the best foods, check. And we, you know, always were saying Guru, 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 right? So if it comes in that way, then the substance of the relationship with the Guru develops a gap, for lack of a better word. A gap develops. And that gap is the lack of snigdha or affection. And everything becomes very official. Because we've insinuated, or we've just concluded, that mood of opulence, money, flower garlands, etc. is an adequate replacement for true heart affection. And it's not. Because a person who's doing the seva of Guru, the last thing that they want truly is Guru Abhiman. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur spoke, Tai Sisha Tava Tokkiya Savada Guru Abhimana Tyaji. So Guru Abhimana Tyaji means to kick away, to throw away. So any person who's doing a service to Guru Parampara and to Mahaprabhu by performing the function of Guru does not want, Abhiman means the self-conception, I am Guru. Because they also want to be Das. You understand? That person, their bhakti is based on them being Das. And if they have any sense of realization, the specificity of their dasatva may start to arise in their heart. So I want to be the Palya Dasi of Srimati Radhika. I want to serve in this way. And that's developing. And if this other Abhiman comes in, that I'm Guru, then it will obfuscate or block out or push away that inner mood that person has in their own seva. So the idea that Guru really wants all of these things as a replacement for true love, affection, and seeing mutual growth by seeing that my Gurudev's, his Harikatha is becoming more inspired as my own unfoldment is becoming more and more and more, that is really what Sri Guru wants. You understand? So garlands, money, this thing, that thing, chairs, worship, this, that, is not the most prized thing to Guru. But rather the deep discussions on Harikatha, the deep discussions where you see unfoldment in that disciple, that thing is really, really what Sri Guru wants. Really Gurudev wants to offer to the lotus feet of Sri, the Guru Parampara, and to Bhagavan, the heart of that person whom they've brought illumination into their life. All the other things, if it's a genuine from the heart snigdha manifestation, then it is nourishing. If it is simply formality, right, then it does not have the quality that Rupa Goswami Pad's mentioning, even in Vaishnava exchanges, right? Dadati pratagrinati guyamakiti prichati bhukte bojayate chaiva. This last line is very important. Sadvidam priti lakshanam. Priti means love and affection. So the exchanges should be imbued with that mood, not simply the officialdom of garlands, seats, money, this thing, that thing. Because Guru also has their own bhajan. If they're eternal associates, it's their own internal mood. If they're unfolding, it's the nature of their unfoldment at a deeper level. And they want that. They don't want all these other things. And if you find that somebody has more resonance with all of these other things, and there's not so much depth of harikatha, not so much depth of heart, snigdha, in between the dealings, it maybe should be a red flag. Right? So, of course, in the West, there was a balancing act that had to be made between understanding Guru etiquette, right, and proper respect, and this making everything an official policy rather than a true nature of the mood of the heart. You understand? That we think the only way we can show affection is by material things. How big was my donation? How many flower gardens I've given? How many times I invite Guru Dev to my house with the best room, best bed, so many different things. So those things, if they're done again with great love and affection, is one thing. If they're done in the mood of this is sort of the official policy of dealing with Guru, and I fulfill my checklist of dealing with Guru, not so much. Understand? So, Guru Pad, the word Pad also here indicates seva. So the mood should be that I want to serve Guru, and perhaps the things that I just mentioned were born from that idea that in serving Guru, this is what I know to be service. But the real service to Guru is that service which is connected to Bhagwan. So try to understand this. Every day we're singing for many years, Shiv Vigrahara Dhana Nityanana Shingaratan Mandira Majanaro Yuktakshta Bhaktams Cha Ninja Yunchatopi. That Sri Gurudev is doing bhajan internally. And they're worshipping Shiv Vigraha. Right? It has many meanings. I'm not explaining the depth of this now, but gradually people should understand it. Right? Internally, very deep meditation bhajans going on. Yuktakshta Bhaktams. Also, Gurudev wants to create connection of the disciple with that inner mood of seva. So this is the real mood that's mentioned in Guru Pad, meaning service, asraya. Taking shelter of the mood that Sri Guru has in serving Shri Radha Krishna, Mahaprabhu, and helping externally one thing, but trying also to help internally by understanding. Then Gurudev is very happy to see how the disciple is then tasting these inner moods of service. That's the real accomplishment. If you're checking your bank balance and you're checking how many times they've given you nice prasad, this is also doubtful if the person really has Guru or they have Guru Abhiman. They have Guru Seva, means the idea of serving, right, is one thing. But if there's Guru Abhiman, the self-conception of enjoying Labdha Puja Pratishta means worship, attainments, and pride, it's not a good thing. Understand? But Gurudev is very happy to see how the disciple is understanding, becoming internally more engaged. This is the real wealth of that relationship. You understand? So Guru Pad, Asraya means taking shelter of, not only Asraya meaning shelter to Guru, but taking the position of Asraya Jatiya. The word Asraya Jatiya here means that Krishna is the object of love for everyone. And those who possess love for Krishna are called Asraya. Krishna is called the Vishaya, object, and those who have love for Krishna are called Asraya. So when one takes shelter of Guru, he's taking shelter of the position of Asraya Jatiya for our whole Guru Parampara. You understand? What love for Krishna is there in our Guru Parampara, that aspiring disciples taking shelter of that mood in Asraya Jatiya, mood of service towards Krishna, like our Guru Parampara, like their own direct Gurudev. Then, Diksha. One will receive, when one has this mood to surrender, to take shelter, asraya, of the mood of serving Krishna, then the means to do that is given in the form of Harinam, and then Diksha. Harinam does not require any niyam, means rules and regulations. Right? Nam namakari bahuda nija sava shaktis tata prita niyamita smaranena kala. There's no niyam in order to remember Harinam. You understand? So Harinam is given freely. What is Harinam? Harinam means the mood that Sri Guru has towards Shri Radha Krishna, who are non-different from Nam. The Guru is giving that mood and the Nam to a disciple to begin service. And because there are no rules and regulations that affect Nam, then more freely Gurudev is inclined to give. Oh, begin to chant Harinam. Because in that Nam is the Karun Shakti, means the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that Nam also contains everything up to the perfection. Because it's mentioned, Chiraratadam Nija Guptavitam. One very Gupta means secret, Rahasya, speciality of Harinam in this Kali Yuga is Swanama Premamrita Tyudara. That Sriman Mahaprabhu has placed that Krishna praying that we're aspiring for in Nam. Therefore, the essential part of Southern Bhakti is chanting Harinam. Now, chanting that Harinam in the shelter of the Ashraya Jati of Guru Parampara makes the Nam efficacy more powerful for that person who's accepted Guru and has come under the Ashraya Jati of the Guru Parampara. So now, after some time, the inclination for the service of the Nam Purush. Nam Purush means the person of the name. So the person of the name is Hara, means Radhika. In the Sanskrit, in the Vakativ, it'll be Hare. Right? So, Radha and Krishna. That is the actual Purush, the persons of that name. And Abhinatvam Nama Namyo. They are non-different. Right? Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Nityamukto Punasuno Nityamukto Abhinatvam Nama Namyo. The name and the persons are not different. So one has started to cultivate the chanting of Sri Nam under the shelter of the Ashraya Jatiya in the form of Guru Parampara and their own Vyasti or individual Guru. Now after some time, Guru wants to give crystallization and understanding of the true Sambandha Gyan of that Sishya with Shri Radha Krishna Yugal. Right? And that same Radha Krishna Yugal first, of course, appearing in their lives is Mahaprabhu. Right? So now at the time of Diksha, Shri Guru does two things. They give Dibya Gyan, and by the influence or prabhav of Swarup Shakti, Kshiyate Papanasanam, they give the power to remove the obstacles to realizing both the prasana of the Nam, Hare and Krishna, or Radha and Krishna, and the particular relationship one has with Radha and Krishna. So the first part of Diksha is called Dibya Gyan. Dibya Gyanam Yanto Shimanti Mantre Bhagavat Srup Gyanam Tenam Bhagavat Sambandha Visesh Cha, or Visesh Sambandham Gyanam Cha. So Visesh Sambandha Gyan means I'm serving Radha and Krishna, right? By aspiration through chanting Harinam and then rendering other various services, going through the morning program, doing other things, doing practical services. Now Shri Guru is giving clearly what is relationship in the form of Sambandha Gyan in a seed form in the mantra given at the time of Diksha. So the mantra is given when you accept Diksha, right? The Gayatri, Guru Mantra, Guru Gayatri, Gaur Mantra, Gaur Gayatri, Gopal Mantra, Kam Gayatri. These things are the seeds that unfold into the actual nature of the relationship the particular Sishya has or disciple has with Radha and Krishna. Understand? So this is what happens at Diksha. Now, unless one continues to hear Harikatha, their understanding of how the Nam and Nami, meaning Radha and Krishna, are non-different, also not being able to understand clearly what is the Diksha mantras, if they don't get Siksha, or they don't continue to hear Harikatha and understand what is the both Nam and the relationship to Nam that was given. So this is called siksha. So diksha, shikshadi. You understand? That there has to be both the giving of the diksha, and siksha means there has to be continual shravan to understand the content, right, of both Nam and the mantras given to reveal one's relationship with Nam or Radha Krishna directly, right? Then the way that this comes across most effectively, Rupa Goswami Pad put this there to make sure we understood it, is when the nature of the relationship with the Guru becomes visramba. And the word visramba means intimate. Here, intimacy obviously does not mean inappropriate intimacy. It means when there is heart-to-heart connection. And therefore, the abhiman that I am the disciple and the Guru on his part, the abhiman, I am Guru, where that can be melted by affection and the nature that, oh, this is my dear, dear friend, and Guru is my dear, dear friend. And by the nature of the depth of that love and affectionate friendship, the flow of bhakti and swarup shakti, which is inherent in that bhakti, can easily flow from heart of Guru to the disciple. Just like if you have a water hose and you bend the hose, right? So by that contraction of the hose, the flow of the water is restricted. In the same way, when you bend the relationship between the Guru and disciple to fit either an institutional model or a preconception about, Guru based on, just what we've seen in the, in the past, well, Guru, big worship, everything. When that happens, then you restrict the natural flow of the affection of Guru. And therefore, their Harikatha, even if the Harikatha is flowing, it will become sankirna, means contracted in your own ear and heart and mind. So the disciple has to open to the possibility of the depth of Vishramba Seva. It does not mean the proper etiquette is lost in that. It's not that one should also begin to think, Gurudev is my bosom buddy, like in the material sense. Because that also will contract the ability to comprehend the flow of bhakti coming from the heart of Guru. Because some possibility of aparad will be there. So while observing the proper etiquette in regard to Guru-Sishya relationship, still the heart should be fully open so that this Vishramba Seva can be accomplished. These were directly the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami Pad on this idea of Guru and disciple relationship. So our whole basis of following everything, we are called Rupanuga. We're following the teachings of Sri Rupa Goswami Pad with aspirations to serve Sri Rupa Manjari. You understand? So we can only do that when we apply in real time, in real life, the teachings that Sri Rupa Goswami Pad is given. And that means, to some degree, we have to hear these things in order to break our preconceived and many times materially influenced conceptions. You understand? So two things then become prominent. One is that there should be deep desire for depositing loving faith in where I find the illumination of bhakti. That means bhakti tattva, bhakti rasa, right? I should have deep sense of wanting to deposit my faith there. Because just like when you deposit money in the bank, I'm not making any mundane comparison here because in the material world, anything is crazy. But in the spiritual sense, when you're depositing, when you're depositing money in a bank, you're hoping the bank will take care of your money, nourish your money, grow your money. So in the same way, when you deposit your faith currency, which is our currency in bhakti, in that person where we find by their harikatha, by their example, we find inspiration and illumination from darkness in the beginning. Because after a while, once you come into the realm of illumination, it's not a matter anymore of simply the idea that I'm in darkness. Now there's an idea on the path of illumination what happens. So when I deposit my faith currency, it's not just a matter of somebody being able to tell me, well, you're not the body, we're suffering in the material world, and we need to get out. That may be the genesis of why you approach, but after that, you want love. And if you want love, you have to understand the science of love. What is Prem Tattva? What is Rasa Tattva? What is the nature of loving Bhagavan? And the first actual experience of unconditional love comes between Guru and disciple, because the Sishya has not realized Mahaprabhu or Radha and Krishna. So you cannot truly have a sense of the connection of their unconditional love. Therefore, it comes via the medium of Guru. That's why it's expressed, Sakshat Hari Tvayena Samashta Shastriya. Shri Guru Dev is Sakshat Hari in the sense that Kintu Prabhu Ya Prevatasha. The dearness, the love between Guru and Bhagavan is what makes Bhagavan give Sakshat and Swatantrata to the Guru. So Swatantrata means independence. Because Krishna, according to Madhurya Kandambini by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he does not directly give bhakti. But he bestows Swatantrata, means independence, in the heart of the pure Vaishnav. And the pure Vaishnav, also influenced by Karuna Shakti, the mercy potency, they are disseminating. We understood bhakti because our Srila Prabhupada came, because my Guru Parapadma came, because other Vaishnavas came. Right? We very seldom, I cannot speak absolutely, but I don't know if many people actually were one day at Whole Foods and they saw Mahaprabhu there and that's where they began their bhakti. I don't think. Right? So by the mercy of a Vaishnava, right? Krishna Bhakti Janma Hoy, Mula Sadhu Sangha. The root cause of bhakti in someone is Sadhu Sangha, meeting a sadhu. And in this context, sadhu means Sadnoti Satayati Cha Krishna Prem Iti Sadhu. A person who's understood love for Bhagavan to be the ultimate attainment. In the context of Vaishnavism, that person is called a sadhu. Because there are many people who can have the title sadhu, even impersonalists, Mayavadis, also sometimes called sadhu. So here the context, Jiva Goswami Prabhupada has been clear. Sadnoti Sadayati Cha Krishna Prem Iti Sadhu. Who's understood Krishna Prem to be the highest attainment in Vaishnava theology, that person is called sadhu. And doing their sangha means samyak rupena anugamana. To by heart, by mood, to follow them continuously with humility in order to develop intimate friendship with them, so that the flow of bhakti coming from Bhagavan into the heart of the sadhu can flow by parampara into the heart of the aspiring disciple. This is the actual relationship between Guru and disciple. And because over the course, Guru-disciple relationship has been institutionalized to some degree, a sort of conflation between the institutionalized etiquette and the individual reality of Guru-disciple relationship has become separated. So now, for the most part, the idea is based on, yes, what we saw done and how it's been done, that's what we should always do. But I'm speaking this because it's very important that this real relationship begins. And it's also difficult if someone has so many disciples that you can't have this relationship. Because then the very means for which the relationship exists is not really truly being fulfilled. And there's not an institutional compensation for that in any sangha. You understand? I'm not speaking strictly to a particular sangha here. I'm speaking to the principle. Even Jiva Goswami and others advise, do not take too many disciples. Right? And, you know, first thing we always think about with that, oh, well, because if I take too many disciples, I may fall down. Well, really, if you have that tendency that you may fall down, perhaps you shouldn't do this anyway. But also the second thing being, it's not because of that reason. It's because you need to be able to give your heart in full to those whom you've created this relationship with. And it is a relationship. I keep emphasizing that. It's not a sort of institutional phenomenon like yeah, I'm going to get one of those. I have to get a guru. Okay, what's available? And then, you know, usually people who have a guru, they'll tell, oh, our guru is really good. And you should, and then you get on that bandwagon and then you join and then, you know, you're, you know, somewhere in the pecking order of getting associated. So all those things we have to be very careful of at this point, right? We want, if somebody's saying Patibhakta, you can ask any disciple of Srila Prabhupada. If they saw Srila Prabhupada once or 10 times, everyone felt very specially, individually connected. That is the influence of Swarup Shakti coming from the heart of Srila Prabhupada, his karuna, his mercy. My Guru Parapadma, same thing. But for those especially who are doing the seva of Guru, and they are not saying Patibhakta is like this, very carefully, you should consider to what capacity can I truly give my heart, right? In sincerity, how much capacity do I have for that? Now, it could be that Bhagavan and Guru Parampara will expand your capacity as your bhajan deepens and the nature of this seva deepens. But that should be the consideration on the person's part who's wanting to help or bring illumination into the lives of others, right? Any other thing should not be considered. You know, guru titles, this thing, that, so forth and so on. Only the genuine desire to give illumination via Harikatha and via whatever your Gurudev has put into your patra. It means that if you're a disciple of Guru, what Gurudev has put into your patra, you're genuinely trying to give in the heart of any other person who's given their deposit of faith currency, right? So I wanted to speak on this because I thought it to be important. We are all trying to grow in bhakti. And Rupa Goswami Pad has delineated these things because they are important. There's nothing superfluous about any and every single thing written by our Guru Vargas. So we need to study the things very deeply and apply them as well. So hopefully this was helpful. And not just for those, because I know many devotees perhaps here have already accepted Diksha initiation, but in helping others to understand what this process of creating the relationship of Guru and Sishya is really about. Okay? All right, my Dandavat Pranam to all devotees. Dandavat Sadhan Siddha Prabhu. I was very happy to see you on yesterday as well, and Dandavats also to all the devotees. I always also requested senior devotees. They can also chime in to help explain these things, because I think especially as we move forward and the influence of Kali becomes more, and also so many things are happening, we need to intensify the focus, so to speak, so that the mission of Mahaprabhu and the mission of our Guru Vargas remains very strong and very, very efficient and effective in carrying out what it is that Mahaprabhu came to do, which is to give the highest thing. This is one of the amazing things, that this is called a Danya Kali. Danya Kali means it's special, because in this Kali Yug, Mahaprabhu has appeared just after the appearance of Sri Krishna. And while Mahaprabhu came to taste, or Krishna came in the form of Mahaprabhu to fulfill and taste his own desire, Prema Rasaniyas Korite Ashwadan, to taste the high class of the mood of Radhika's praying. Also, Rag Marg Bhakti Lok Korite Pracharan. He came and he preached to the Bhakta Lok, means all the associates from previous incarnations, the sweetness and the nature of the high class of mood of Braj Prem. And for them, through the process of the Sankirtan in the house of Srivas and Srivas Angan, they tasted the intensity of that Braj Prem and what was Ras Lila everything, by intensity, in the form of the Naga Sankirtan in the house of Srivas, right? And also, Mahaprabhu told, the reason also for doing this is Rasik Shekara Parama Karun. So also here, Rasik Shekara means, because Krishna is Akila Rasamritamoti, means he's the taster and connoisseur of all rasa. Unless and until he tastes what is the mood of Radhika's praying from her position, then praying is not complete. This is why the highest kind of expression of praying comes in Krishna Lila. And it comes in the form of the Ras Lila. Samyak Saravasana Krishna Ras Lila. Right? Krishna sees the highest kind of praying there manifest in Radhika. It's called Madanakya Mahabhav. But he himself, in the position of the object of that love, has no experience what it's like to be the repository of that love. So even after the Braj Lila, Purva Vrajvilasa 18 Abhilas. He was remaining with 3 desires. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shri Radha Pranaya Mahima Kidbriso. Krishna is wondering what is the nature of the pranay of Srimati Radhika. Pranay here is a special meaning I'm not explaining here because it will elongate everything very much. Right? And also, Swadhuta Madurimam. No, what is this? Madurimam Swaina Adhuta Madurimam Kidriso Vamadiya. Also, Krishna, he is very special among all the forms of Bhagavan because he has 4 special qualities. Venu Madhuri, Rupa Madhuri, Lila Madhuri, and Prem Parikar Madhuri. Means loving devotee associates. Swaina Adhuta Madhurima. How Radhika tastes his 4 kinds of Madhuri that causes her, Shokyam Chasha, Mat Anubhavata, Kidrasam Vetilova, how she experiences them and what kind of happiness she has is unavailable to Krishna. Though he's omnipotent, omniscient Bhagavan, that thing being in a position of the object of the love, he cannot understand. So he prays, may I have that position. And by beg, borrowing, stealing, he acquires a position, and therefore he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to taste that mood and distribute service to that mood to the Bhaktalok, and then by the mercy of the Bhaktalok means all the pure devotees, then they distribute it to the jivas in general. So this is a Danya Kali and a very special thing that Mahaprabhu has come to give. And so we don't want to obfuscate the flow of that wonderful gift in this Kali Yuga by having contracted, distorted concepts around the essential means of how someone attains that, which is the guru-disciple relationship. So even, distortion started to come up some time ago, Ritvik idea, all kinds of different things. And this is because there was not a deep understanding of the real teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami Pad regarding what is guru and disciple relation. In a sense, I wanted to give some emphasis to that in order that we all can benefit by it, because I'm always speaking also for my own edification, and also for those who are coming to the path, that we have now a more clear understanding of how to make their path very clear and very effective, so that they can quickly advance according to their samskars, quickly advance in the path of bhakti. Alright, my Dandavat Pranam, Vancha Kalpa Turubhyascha, Kripa Shindavevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe. Also, my travel schedule is happening. I'm very happy by health, grace of Guru and Gauranga. It seems like this year I'll be able to travel some. So some of it has already been laid out. I think I'll be coming to Washington, D.C., Virginia, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and then, of course, to the Midwest a little bit, to Ohio, and to West Virginia, and so forth. So anyways, hopefully, and then later on in the year, I think I'll be going a little further west. But anyways, hopefully I'll have the chance to have the association of many devotees. I'm also making my plan, Sadhan Siddhaprabhu, to try to get to Trinidad somehow or another. So anyways, because I'm always feeling also very benefited and nourished by having the opportunity to have association with devotees and to just discuss these things and to hear their realizations and their aspirations as well. This is called Vaishnav Maitri, Vaishnav friendship. Alright, Dandavat Pranam. Radhe Radhe.